Design Love podcast. Let's talk design, where I share tips and hacks and information to help you design your life and your home your way. It's your girl, Denise Joy. I'm an interior designer, a space curator, a 26-year college professor, and I'm also founder of Learning to Live Abroad, where I share my step by step journey and progress to retire and move abroad and be a flexpat, and along with information to help women like you who may be interested in retiring and moving abroad as well. So today's episode is a continuation of Monday's episode, which focused on how to stop keeping up with the Joneses. I went in on that episode, sharing tips and hacks and ideas and information to really center your home, whether you're selecting a home or designing a home, so that it reflects you, your lifestyle. So we don't get hung up in the whole comparison. You know, comparison is the thief of joy, so they say. And I can also admit that personally, I have experienced that in my own lifetime as evolving in my own self. As soon as I start comparing myself to some other thing or some other person, I'm off center. I've lost sight of that which is really should be focused on me and how I need to grow. Welcome everybody who's joining me live for this episode. I appreciate it. So again, this is a continuation of Monday's episode, which was, if you haven't watched it yet, it focused on how to stop keeping up with the Joneses. And today's episode, we are going to continue with which was tip number 10 on that episode, where we started to talk about how to select a design style that really reflects your personality. So for today, I am talking about how to uncover your home design personality. How do you really take and merge one or more, which most of us do, design styles. So we're going to be talking about design styles and your personality and what will really bring you joy, infinite joy, joy by design in your home space. If you are new to my channel, please hit the subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my awesome, always helpful videos. Shout out yourself. Let me know what city or state you are watching from. And if you have questions, drop them in the chat. I love to build community here and be in community with everyone. So if you have questions or comments, feedback for others, they are very much welcomed here. I love to have other voices in the conversation here on the podcast. What else did I want to say? Oh, this is a part of a series that I have been doing for the past couple of weeks around how to design your home to fit your lifestyle. There are a number of videos you can check out, things like how to decorate with art, how to elevate your space. You know, I have a philosophy here, it's custom on a budget, and that's where you do a combination of things. First, you assess your space, you assess your home, you figure out what's happening in this current season of your life, because we go through different moments and times where we need different things. So you want to assess. Then you want to take on some DIY that's doable for you. All of us can do something in the DIY space. And then you want to repurpose, and you want to reuse, and then purchase sparingly. And when you do purchase, you're purchasing for quality, the highest quality possible, so that you can get longevity and sustainability out of the things that are around you. Perfect example of DIY is this wall back here. It's a Kuba cloth inspired wall. In fact, in that, let me see if I can get my fingers right here, that pillow right there, I actually made that pillow from some extra mud cloth that I had left over from a different project. Really simple things to do that bring real edification and real value as we really focus on stewarding our spaces. Stewarding is the principle where you sow, you put a lot of care and intentionality in the space that's around you. So last episode, how to stop keeping up with the Joneses. I really went in and unpacked that mythology that you have to stay on trend. You don't have to stay on trend. You have to design and fill your home with things that really support you. They give you what you need. I believe in spaces are reciprocal. What I put in is what that space is going to send back to me, what's going to give me back. It's going to give me a vibe, an energy Oh, there we go. Something weird happened on my screen. So in the previous episode, I shared a couple of well, about 10 questions. And so I'm going to run through these questions, and then we're going to jump into design styles. Okay. So questions to think about to get a sense of your design personality. If you've got a personality, you have an affinity for one or more design styles. Here are the questions. Do you like to shop for great finds at like a flea market or thrift store or Facebook Marketplace? Do you love the hunt? Do you love to look through things, sift through and scroll through things on Facebook Marketplace until you find something that you're like, oh, that's unique. I like that. I love that. Let me put in a bid for that. Maybe even auctions or estate sales. That's another route. What is the first thing you do when you get home from work? Some people, believe it or not, get home from work and they unload the dishwasher because they've loaded the dishwasher at the top of the day. That's their ritual. What are some of the things that you love to do when you get home from work? If you were having a party in your home, what would the theme be? I shared that one of my themes would be vintage hip hop. I have a record player, old school vinyl, album record player. I even have some new school vinyl. For example, I have like Beyonce on a vinyl, on an album, along with my seasoned albums that I have. So that would be mine. What's your favorite seat in your home? Where do you feel most comfortable? Where do you feel like you are really cozy in your home? Where do you love to shop for home items? Again, are you more of a flea market, auction, estate sale? Do you go for like Regency furniture or whatever your local furnishing location is? Which two colors do you wish were not in your home? Which two colors do you wish you had more of in your home? These are things that you can start to ask yourself to zero in on design style. Do you like comfortable, soft, oversized sofas and chairs and love seats? Do you like to sit in something and feel like you kind of disappear because it just squeezes you and gives you a big hug? Do you like plants in your home, live plants? And then have you ever had anything reupholstered? Those are just some questions to kind of get you thinking, get you started. So we're going to talk about 10 different design styles in this episode today. Most people are drawn to and embrace and merge two design styles. My preferred design style personally for my home is Afro-bohemian. And I'll talk about the characteristics of Afro-bohemian in just a little bit. But that is my preferred design style. And I like to talk about it's a mashup for me of modern vintage. I love those two, the tension that is created and the creativity in those two design periods sort of living together. Why is it important to know and embrace your design style? Well, because it gives you the freedom to create with your ideas, and it helps give you vision at the center. And then you stop centering the hot new trend on XYZ TV show, right? Or on the internet. I really encourage my clients and all of my subscribers and community members to just steer away from the trends. On the last episode, I talked about the beige trend. I kind of like beige gone wild, where this trend around beige for the home, where literally everything in the home is beige, and the family members were all wearing all different shades of beige. Like, the 5-year-old wore a certain shade, and I mean, it was just consumerism kind of gone wild, really gone too far in my world, at least. I do believe in do you, boo, and I just think those types of trends, though, are consumer driven purely. They're to get you to keep buying new things, the new trend, the next trend, and then before you know it, you are literally like in over your head. So here are some of the design styles we're going to talk about today. Scandinavian, minimalist, Zen, contemporary, industrial, mid-century modern, Afro-bohemian, modern glam, rustic or barn house, and traditional. Some of these may be new to you. Heck, all of them may be new to you. Or you may be hearing some things that you heard in the past, and then things kind of morph. There's some other, there's lots of styles like a dark academia. I mean, there's so many styles out there, and things start to mash up. But I wanted to make sure that we go through some of these so you have as much information as possible. So let's get started. Scandinavian. Scandinavian does take a nod from the Scandinavian culture. Scandinavian style celebrates minimalist decor and functionality, the mashup of functionality. It uses a lot of whites. It has hints of black, wood tones, and a few pops of color. The colors can tend to be pastels, although bold colors are also involved. So some of the light woods that you'll see with Scandinavian would be maple, birch, and oak. Hey, what's up, Golden Soul? Thrifting, yard sales, the hunt. Yes. So do you know your design style? Or do you have a name for your design style? That's a better way for me to refer to it, because sometimes people create their own design style names. I love that. I love that. Thanks so much for joining me live. So you'll find also plastics are used in Scandinavian, things like chairs, console tables, side tables. And they use a lot of natural or whitewashed floors, like washed white out, bleached oak and everything like that. And they also like sort of wintry comforts, like what's that? Lamb's wool, those rugs that you can get on the floors. And that's a lot of what you see when you go to an IKEA. If you shop at IKEA or you're familiar with IKEA, IKEA has quite a bit of that Scandinavian imprint in their design style. Next up, we have minimalist. Now, minimalist perhaps sounds self-explanatory. It's where you are more stark. Your design style is, they say, clean and modern. Even those words can mean different things to different people. But the minimalist is going to remove more things. You're going to have less clutter. You're going to have less furnishings. You might even have a piece of, like your chair, it looks like a piece of artwork, right? So there's that mix there too. They're going to use a lot of white surfaces. Minimalists usually do not have colored walls. The walls are usually white. And then chrome and steel, metals are big in the minimalist. Streamlined, like a platform bed where things are low to the ground or lower to the floor. The storage is going to be paneled. Things are going to be hidden away, again, because with minimalists, you don't really see things. You don't have a ton of pillows. Everything's really pared down. You use a lot of minimalist artwork, so sculptures. And a lot of times the artwork doesn't quite seem like it's finished. Like you might see art that's like the outline of a body, that kind of a thing. Sleek furniture with simple legs and multifunctional pieces are a big part of the minimalist style. Are you drawn to minimalist style? Hey, Little Mac, welcome back to the Design Love podcast. Appreciate you joining me live. I really do. We're talking about uncovering your design personality through design styles. So next up, we have Zen. Just Zen already makes you feel kind of peaceful, right? Zen style. Zen is an Eastern approach to decorating or undecorating. Okay, you said it's evolved over time. You would describe as Afro chic. Yes, with a hint of boho. I love all of the different sort of word variations of Afro-boho, Afro-bohemian, Afro-modern, Afro-chic. I'm using all those terms, sometimes interchangeably, but I also note there's some slight, for me personally as a designer, there's some slight design shifts between like Afro-modern and Afro-chic and Afro-boho. So I'm enjoying that more people are embracing Afro-bohemian, Afro-boho, Afro-chic, Afro-modern as a true design style. Quite honestly, I always designed my spaces with my African heritage really in the center of that. Didn't know a terminology there was, but in the past, I want to say 10-ish years or so, Afro boho has gained momentum as unfortunately like an offshoot of bohemian, but we'll get to that in a little bit here, just a moment. So Zen style. The Zen style focuses on warm materials and it has a backdrop of minimalism. So the minimalist styles. The rooms want to have balance and harmony, and the focus is on relaxation. The focus tends to be on relaxation and softening the energy in a room. You're going to see a lot of monochromatic colors in the Zen, a lot of diffused light, where light is like rice paper is used to diffuse light in a space. Essential things like essential oils, natural scents, natural materials, linens, low to the ground or on the ground, sort of bedding and even seating, things that you would sit on, or you're sitting on rugs like small light area rugs. A lot of contrasting textures, woven baskets are also there. Simple furniture. You don't have a lot of ornamentation with the Zen style, but you do have a focus on lots of plants, live indoor plants, even terrariums. And the indoor outdoor living is also very important in the Zen lifestyle. All right, let's jump over to contemporary. Contemporary is very, very popular. Contemporary is really a sleek, casual, so it's different than minimalist. It's more casual, but it's also modern. You're going to get like a neutral color palettes. You do get quite a bit of white with the contemporary, a lot of oversized artwork. In contemporary art, contemporary interior design, there's a big emphasis on art. So whether that's a combination of sculptures, mixed media art, baskets, woven, macrame. There's such a big emphasis on art. Low, simple sofas are also glass tables, some metals like chrome. Hidden storage is big in contemporary. So bureaus, you would find sideboards that are sleek, and there's a lot of hidden storage in there. Nickel finishes, arced lamps, lamps that have like that little U shape to them. Well, not little, because you can get those large ones. I have a small one. I just put one, a really nice size one in the living room I designed for my client in New Orleans. She wanted a contemporary look. So contemporary is very, very big. Contemporary art also is decluttered. You don't have a lot of clutter with contemporary design style. All right, let's jump to industrial. Now, the industrial style is usually talked about being more masculine. There's a masculine energy, and at least we tend to still think of masculine energy and feminine energy in design. And so industrial has a lot of that exposed pipes, exposed brick, exposed ductwork, right? It's sort of deconstructed. You're seeing things from the inside. You might even have steel kitchen islands. Again, it's like harder surfaces, which tends to be described as more masculine in design. Subway tile, pendant lights, things that are simple and they seem very utilitarian. And in other words, the aesthetic beauty is stripped down, but even in its stripped down features, it has its own aesthetic and beauty. Rustic architectural walls, metal chairs, a lot of wood, a lot of emphasis on wood. And you get a little bit of that rustic over in the industrial, because that focus on wood can sometimes make the industrial style feel rustic or a little bit country. So again, there's always this mashup. Industrial also uses a lot of found things that you hunt for. So again, thrift stores, flea markets, estate sales, Facebook Marketplace, etc. You're looking for things that are unique to put in a space and things that have some age on them. So you don't typically in industrial style, you don't have everything in there isn't going to be brand new. All right, let's go to another typically viewed as a masculine design style, which is mid-century modern. I personally enjoy mid-century modern pieces in my Afro-bohemian design style. In fact, I have a 1965 Lane Furniture guitar pick shaped table, wood table. It's gorgeous. It's mid-century modern, and I have it as a piece in my home. So mid-century modern is sleek, sexy shapes, strong kind of a retro vibe. We call it retro now because it harkens back to another time. This style really emerged in the 1950s and the 60s, as I just mentioned. My guitar pick table is 1965. It's an original piece. And it was really a rejection of like the traditional ornamentation of furniture prior to the 50s and the 60s. Because, you know, that furniture was more of like the elite aristocratic carryover from England in the US, because we're really talking about here in the US. And people wanted to change. They wanted modern furniture after having been in wars for so long. So mid-century modern is going to have a lot of molded plastic type furniture, very warm wood finishes like teak, like rosewood, and you still get some walnut in the mid-century modern. Geometric patterns are going to be big in the mid. Hi everybody, thank you so much for joining me live for this episode. You're going to have streamlined, sleek, kind of lower to the ground sofas and chairs, and you also get furniture that is mimicking flight. Because, you know, there was this big movement of, you know, going to Mars, you know, going out to, hey, what's up, Letitia? Did I say that right? Yeah, Letitia. And so it's mimicking flights. You get the chairs that are leaned far back. You get the Eames style with mid-century modern, which was very popular. And then you had a whole bunch of knockoffs for the Eames style. And then you're going to get low credenzas that are going to do multi-purpose. They're going to be bars. They're going to have record players and radios in them. They're going to have storage in them. Bar carts are really big, and the furniture has a lot of tapered legs. So mid-century modern has a lot of also brass accents. So if you are a fan of mid-century modern, I didn't mention art. Mid-century modern also is where we really start to see a lot more focus on books and vignettes and creating kind of like these sculptural moments, but really sleek sculptural moments in the home. All right, next up, Afro-bohemian. So first let's start with bohemian. Bohemian is typically viewed as a kind of a multi-hybrid design style where you get this kind of a mash-up where there's a lot of multi-purpose decor, where you might, for example, have rugs hung on the walls as art and wall hanging. You get like a lot of, baskets and poofs and things that make you can move things around in a space and they can have multiple uses. You have a heavy emphasis on patterns and texture and color in bohemian. Now for me, I view Afro-bohemian, I would characterize my studio corner here as Afro-bohemian. I already mentioned earlier that this hand-painted wall that I did here is inspired by West African Kuba cloth. I hand-painted that wall. I wanted that energy in the space. I have this little picture here with all these beautiful bold colors on it. My top, which has all this pattern and these bold colors here in the top. This is all indicative. The rich colors here in the eucalyptus inside of the urn, the mud cloth pillow, the beautiful green here, and this bronze on this credenza. All of these colors, all of this intermixing is reflective of the bold focus of color and pattern and texture inside of my own African heritage. My ancestors come from the continent. I know the mix of my ancestry from, Nigeria to Burkina Faso, etc., Mali. And so those things are very important. Warm textures, wood textures, legacy, heritage. One's sense of family, legacy, and heritage are important in Afro-bohemian. And this mix, or what I call modern vintage, where you have both older pieces and furnishings and art that have age mixed in with more modern pieces. And you're really curating a space because you're putting together, juxtaposing both pattern, texture, and color with the energy of your family heritage. Even small stories. For example, I did my genealogy of my family history and was able to, a very painful moment in my history, but nonetheless, I still honor it and celebrate it, and was able to locate my third great grandparents in, unfortunately, the probate estate of their enslaver, and it was seeing their names in print. So what I chose to do was to print those out and create an art installation in my home where I put the backing of some West African Kuba cloth and then framed it out and then honored my family members along with both of my second great grandparents were also in that enslaved lot of people. And so I honor that by making sure that I stand firm on a painful moment, but I honor it in a moment of celebration that because of them, I exist. That's a part of the Afro-bohemian characteristics that I choose. Some other elements of sort of traditional bohemian are things that have a little age on them, so more warm rugs. Your upholstery is very important. Global patterns. Now that's a broad way of saying mixing in, like, I just showed my sleeve and my top here, but bringing in things that have a lot of pattern. Handmade, things that are handmade as well are important. Distressed furniture, things that are hand dyed, like fabrics, like linens and cottons, saturated colors, textiles, and an emphasis on plants. I think I'm up to 32 plants right now. And so that's a big part. Are any of you who are watching live, or if you're listening to the replay, is Afro-bohemian or Afro-boho, Afro-chic, is that your preferred design style? If you know your preferred design style, which is usually, again, a mashup of two, let me know, let us all know, let the community know in the comments section below. We got a couple more to get through here. Modern glam. Modern glam is sort of a reworking of what we used to call Hollywood Regency. Okay, Hollywood Regency, which really was born out of the 1930s and 40s from the movie industry, the television industry, and so it's this emphasis on a kind of a glam, a luxury kind of an emphasis, and it's usually viewed as a feminine center design style. So you get an emphasis on rich, luxurious looking pieces, fabrics, rugs that have a lot of texture to them. Fur is a big part of that. You're going to have lacquer, like even lacquered walls, or this piece right here in my studio. This is actually lacquered, this top front. So it's got this one doesn't have a high sheen, but it's really gorgeous in person. Chrome and brass. You want, again, shiny. This looks like it's this money, honey, right? Big statement pieces, oversized, like mirrors. I did a client's home. I have 2 videos on this. The Hollywood Regency dining room, and she had this huge statement mirror. She'd already purchased it at I think at Facebook Marketplace. And so I was able to work that into the room. Luxurious fabrics like satin, velvet, and fur are very important to that modern glam. Bright graphic wallpapers. In the second video for this same client, I did her breakfast nook and used a vintage pineapple wallpaper, which turned out stunning, black and white. And then I had that same wallpaper printed on fabric, and we did custom window seats. So African pieces, a little bit of everyday, okay, every style, very nice. Chinese lacquer. Oh, come on, Chinese lacquer chairs. I love that. French furniture in my bedroom. I love that. That's your original footprint, your personality reflected in the rooms and styles in your home. That is so, so important, Little Mac. A couple of other things. Modern glam also invites some Asian details and motifs like chinathri and bamboo into your space. Ornate furniture is important. Chandeliers with lots of crystals is another part. High contrast colors, lots of jewel tone accents. Back to the dining room that I designed for the client, we used a really gorgeous, very rich I wish I remember the exact green, but it's like a hunter green, but a jewel toned green in her dining room. Because again, it really was that modern glam or Hollywood Regency style that she loved so much. We've got our rustic and barn. We really would call this farmhouse today, right? Farmhouse is a bit of a trend right now, and it has been ever since they had, I forget the woman's name, the Magnolia woman on HGTV, who really started doing heavily her designs. I haven't watched HGTV in years, but nonetheless, I slightly remember. And so it's trending in such a way that people, it's like copycat design, far as I'm concerned, honestly. I mean, of course, I have the philosophy of do you boo, my member. Thank you so much, Joanna Gaines. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like seriously? Now, again, it's consumer driven. It's to, that's why all the commercials on those shows on HGTV are to help you go and buy the things, like you don't have your own thoughts and your own, your own brain. So let's get into rustic, barn, or farmhouse. So it's a country, kind of updated country. Let's think of it in that way. So you're going to be furniture that has some age and some patina to it. And if you buy things new, people will age the furniture to make it look older. So it's new furniture, but it looks aged, right? Oh, that's your favorite. That's your least favorite style. I wouldn't holistically, yeah, embrace this style. I do enjoy, in fact, I love aged furniture because remember, I like in my Afro-bohemian, I like the mashup of modern vintage. I love the creative tension in putting and juxtaposing something more modern next to something has more age to it. Also, with our farmhouse or rustic, you're going to get a lot of patterns that might have more country prints, like black and white checked patterns. Now, the sort of updated farmhouse doesn't use a lot of color. Come on now, Golden Soul. That's absolutely correct. Know what you don't like. In the questions that I posed earlier, I had said, what two colors do you not like in your home currently? And what two colors would you like to see more of in your home currently? So what you don't like, in your assessment of your home. Matter of fact, I am going to do a episode that's all about doing an assessment, right? A loving, kind, friendly assessment and inventory of your home so that you can get more of in your home what you really, really want. And that's again through my custom on a budget principles of DIY, repurpose, reuse, purchase sparingly. And when you purchase, you're purchasing for quality so you can have sustainability in your space. Thank you for that, Golden Soul. Appreciate that. So sofas with deep seats, padded arms, cotton, a lot of slip covers of your furnitures. The thing is, you can just take them off and wash them, et cetera, et cetera. That's kind of hard to do if you particularly have kids, grandkids. Hey, what's up, Catherine? Welcome, welcome. I appreciate you joining us live. I love all my faithful subscribers joining me on purpose live. Cast iron, copper accents is another sort of metal that you'll see with the rustic or farmhouse style. Wood floors is going to be big, important. Sometimes you can see the wood look vinyl, but it's not truly true to that rustic or the farmhouse look. All right, our last design style is traditional. Traditional is viewed as really the most popular design style. So traditional is just really, your house is warm and inviting. You can kind of think of traditional as like a catch-all design style because there's a lot of overlap with that traditional design style. And you might even think of it as new traditional. So let's talk about some of the things you can see in traditional or new traditional design style. Persian rugs, or rugs that aren't viewed as like ethnic rugs. Wingback chairs, antique crystal chandeliers, tufted headboards. Tufted is where you have a fabric, but you'll have those little, like a button making a little divot or indentation, even in a sofa or a chair or a headboard. Gilded accents like a gilded mirror, things like that. Alabaster, marble, those types of materials, classic art like landscapes painted in oil or watercolor, or maybe even family portraits, members of your family that have been painted. Did I say wingback chairs? And materials like chinoiserie, damask. These are patterns and fabrics that you would see a particular kind of a chenilles you would see in traditional as well. And everybody has a style. And again, when you understand your own personality, what you like, what floats your boat, what makes you feel a real strong appeal and a sense of joy, you have, as I said earlier, you have more freedom to select from those design styles. Oh, sorry about that. To select from those design styles what is going to make you happy in your space. You do not have to settle for chasing down the trends, or being held hostage by whatever is trending. Again, I think of that as just a way for you to keep spending money. And right now, it's a lot going on in our financial economy, right? We're trying to hold on to more of our coins. We're trying to think sustainable. We need to be more frugal because there's just a lot of up and down going on. There's so many things that you can reuse and repurpose. And DIY paint obviously is going to be the one. I'm always going to say everybody can learn to paint. I even have a video that talks about all of the kinds of supplies you need when you are going to paint. I'm going to give y'all a tip. I was at Costco the other day, and maybe I missed it, but I had never seen, they had a whole section, and it was going quick, on Wagner's prepackaged paint kit. And that thing was so loaded, and the highest quality brushes, like I love to paint. I got two. I don't really need brushes right now, but I went on ahead and got two because the pricing where I am, those Jones were like $15.99. It had three brushes, 4 rollers. It even had your cabinet size roller it has a different nap on the padding, trays. I mean, it was just outfitted. So I went on ahead and got two because I do have some paint projects that I want to do later in the year, and I figured these are gonna go. It's more prudent for me to spend this, $32 right now, and I'm well outfitted, and I knew the tariffs were coming as well. So I went on ahead and got those in advance, planning in advance, right? So it's so important and critical that we pay attention to what is our style, what is the personality that we have a preference for, so we can do more in our homes. We're going to be, in our homes, perhaps doing dinner parties or gatherings a little bit more. And it's wonderful to have a nice space to invite people into. I always close out these episodes with our affirmation. And I decided we're going to continue the affirmation from Monday's episode, which focused on how to stop keeping up with the Joneses syndrome. So today, I'm through with keeping up with the Joneses. From this day forward, it's my home, my rules, and my style. Come on, Catherine, when you see a good sale, yes. I mean, they say planning is the biggest part of it all. And then taking that action on what you plan and having the wisdom to say, absolutely, this is going to benefit me more. And I just think right now, what's happening in our social climate and economics and our finances, as a result of decisions made that are outside of our control, we have to all be thinking much more with more wisdom, be more prudent. So again, from this day forward, it's my home, my rules, and my style. All right. I thank you all, as always, for joining me for Design Love Podcast. Let's Talk Design, where I share tips, hacks, and information to help you design your life and your home your way. This podcast drops every Monday and Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. But if you are watching the replay, I really appreciate it. Yes, repurpose more. No need to, really no need to keep buying, because really at the end of the day, you want to purchase for quality, the highest quality, so that's sustainability. Even things like pillows. Buy good quality pillow inserts so that if you want to, you can either make your own outer pillow coverings or keep swapping them out. And that way you're zipping them off, keeping them clean, and then changing them out for the seasons. Much better way to go. Yes. Do you like it? Do you like it or love it? You know what, Golden Soul? I love that, and I'm going to add to that, if I may. Do you like it? Do you love it, or is it just because it's the trend? Or is it just because it's the trend of today and you think, you've been sold to think, right? You want to love everything in your home. The Joneses. No shade to the Joneses out there. I have to say that. Anybody whose last name is the Joneses, I am not literally poking at you. It's just a saying I grew up with, where I'm from in the Midwest. You want to keep up with the Joneses. So again, I appreciate you. If you're watching this episode as the replay, shout yourself out. Let me know what state you're watching from. And all of y'all make it so much fun when you join me live here and build the community for Design Love Podcast. You're very welcome, Little Mac. I'll see you all in the next episode. Y'all have a great day and a great weekend. Bye, everybody.